Good, Ethan? All right. All right, let's try that again. Good morning, everybody. All right, well, you ain't going to be covering Genesis this morning. Ken will be back going into the next lesson there next week. We have a special guest this morning, Mr. Ron Brown. He's here to talk to us about Save Asian Souls and the works that's going on there. We've been helping with that work there in what country is that, Mr. Brown? 4 countries. I was thinking. I thought it was more than one. Laos, Thailand, Philippines, and Nepal. That's incredible. That's a tremendous work, and we're very grateful for what they're doing there and the lives that they're touching. The mission statement that we have as Christians is to go out into all the world, and they are. And so we appreciate them. So we're very anxious and enthusiastic to hear how the work's going there. So Mr. Brown, if you would come on up and let us know how that's going. Thank you.
I'm very pleased to be with you this morning. Someone asked me how I was doing. I said, I'm doing fine until I can do better. We've been in the mission field since 1984. Foreign missions the entire time. So we've lived a lot of different places. But it was good to be back to the United States. I'll tell you that for sure. After 24 hours of flying, we were on the other side of the world. And we're back with you. Let me tell you about the work that's going on. Human trafficking is among the fastest growing forms of international crime because current world conditions have created increased demand and supply. Migration flows are enormous, and the illicit trade is hidden within the masses of movement of people across the U.S. border. They're bringing them in by the hundreds, and nothing slows them down. So the trafficking is increasing, not decreasing. It's increasing, and it's easier for them to operate. Traffickers choose to trade in human beings because they are low start-up cost, minimal risk, high profits, and large demand. For organized crime groups, human beings have one added advantage over drugs. They can be sold and repeatedly. Supply and demand have created a nourishing business for traffickers in Thailand. Organized crime includes the police and much of the government. So all girls from Asia come through Bangkok, Thailand before they come to the United States. And it's just so much that I know about it that I can't even tell you. It's unbelievable. It's a horrible, horrible life. Every time we get a young girl to go to our safe house, we're very happy. We know her life will change and never be the same. The Russian mafia is one of the major purchasers of young girls, and they're very strong in the United States, especially in South Florida. The mafia controls a lot of things that you don't know are being controlled by the mafia. They buy the girls from the recruiters. They will pay as much as $20,000 US for an 8-year-old girl. So we've changed our quota. We used to only take girls that were 10 to 20. Now we have to take in girls that are 8 years old because of the high demand for the young girls. You can see easily why the mafia is changed from drug trafficking to human trafficking. They don't get caught. They don't get convicted. they don't go to prison. But when they were primarily in drugs, they get caught. There's evidence, many convictions of drug trafficking. And the reason they have changed primarily is the profit, $21,000 per victim. That's the reason they are. All the others that are trafficked are just minor amounts. Our goals, and I've showed you this before, are to provide a place for the teens, a safe place to live. We call them safe houses. Bible teaching, vocational education, assist in finding work or establishing a business, and follow up with the girls to make sure they're faithful in their attendance to church and faithful to God. When we accomplish these goals, we are on our way to success. No girl that has been through our program will ever be enticed by a trafficker or a recruiter. Recruiters will make about $300,000 per year just recruiting girls that he can sell to a pimp or to the Russian mafia. But when we have the girls, there's no concern for the girls. They are safe. We opened another safe house. We have 22 safe houses in Asia now. And we spent 6 months remodeling an old house that I bought, and it is operational now. I'll show you a minute. We start off with Nepal. Nepal is our largest group of girls. Every year, the government states that 7,000 girls are sold from Nepal into India. India has thousands of brothels all over the country, and they like to have the lighter-skinned girls that are in Nepal because the Indian men do not like the dark skin. So that's the reason we have so many girls from Nepal. I can't tell you exactly how many are in tailoring school, but I think it's about 58. And 113 of the girls have been baptized into Christ and are active in the church. I'll show you some typical safe houses in Nepal. This is a safe house in Nepal, Narayanga. The girl in the purple dress on the far right was one of our girls many years ago. We brought her into the safe house. She's so good at tailoring that we made her the director of our tailoring program. And she teaches all the girls how to sew, and they do a tremendous job. Now, you don't walk up to somebody like I've walked up to you and shook your hand. In Thailand, Asia, all over Asia, you greet people like this. You folded hands and you bow your head, and that's the same thing as shaking hands. And what the folded hands mean is the spirit in me greets the spirit within you. So that's common practice. That's the reason they're holding their hands the way they are. That's their tailoring school. That's back some time ago when COVID was so very bad. COVID finally came to an end, basically. But we still have severe poverty in the Himalayan mountains. And this past week we had to get rice to our Christians in the Himalayan mountains, and it's not an easy job. That's Lokendra. He's in charge of about 100 girls, I think, and he's teaching Bible class. I had an email from him yesterday after he taught a Bible class. And last week we had a new convert, another girl baptized into Christ, and now faithful. There's another Bible class. The teaching of the Bible is extremely important. We must get them Bibles too. I spend a lot of money on Bibles for 3,000 girls. We never have enough money for the Bible fund, so we have to always add to it. That's showing you some baptisms in Nepal. That water is so cold. The reason it's so cold, it's melted snow from the mountain. So they don't mind it at all. It's not a problem. They bathe in the cold water. They have no hot water. This is the letter that I just received on girl number 441. She was baptized into Christ, and that's from Lokendra. He's writing to me and to Jackie. Jackie is the man that worked for me for 20 years. They worked for me in China 18 years. And he's in Memphis, Tennessee, because he graduated from the Memphis School of Preaching after going to Singapore to the Four Seas College and Bible School. So he's been to 2 Bible schools and 2 preacher training classes. I'm gradually turning more work over to him so that when the time comes that I can no longer do the work, that he'll be totally ready to take it over. And we'll have another man that will be joining him very soon. My son may have covered this a little bit. We have 12 girls. We have a separate safe house from his orphanage. We have 12 girls. 4 of those girls have been baptized into Christ, and I'm sure more will be baptized soon. Now that's a picture of the safe house and the girls standing out front. And some of the girls came over from the orphanage and had their picture. They wanted their picture taken, and they're taken with the girls in the safe house. In Laos, the new safe house is in Udon, Thailand, and that's very, very close to the border with Laos. About 30 or 40 minute drive, and you'll be going from Thailand into Laos. But it's not a fast trip. The customs and immigration people take their very slow time in processing you when you go from one country to the other. We were able to visit all of our safe houses in Laos, 40 girls in total, 12 girls that have already been baptized in Laos. This is our Vientiane safe house, number 1. It was built about 5 years ago. We have to be careful about building in Laos because it is a communist government. They could come in and take over the safe house if they wanted to. So we don't do a lot of construction. But we did build this safe house, and we have another little small safe house out on a farm. We have a farm that produces a lot of food for the 4 safe houses of Laos. Well, the one way up in Longkorban is too far to transport the food, so it'd be three safe houses that we are providing the food from the farm. Those are papaya plants, as you see on the right side. Those are the girls that live in that safe house, and we don't know how they live in that safe house. It is crowded, oh my. And until just recently, it only had 1 bathroom. You can't have 1 bathroom if you have 2 girls. But we had as many as 20 using 1 bathroom. That's impossible. So we have built 2 more bathrooms and showers on the back side of the safe house in order to have a place for the girls to go. And they were very happy. This was their first day back at school. This is our number 2 safe house in Laos, and this is in downtown Vientiane. The girl standing on the right with the long hair, her name is Pet. She works for me, and her father is in charge of the farm and in charge of the small safe house where he cares for girls. It was wonderful to visit with we did get to visit with the girls at both of these locations. It was very good to get to see the girls, to hear their stories. And every one of them has a story. Every one of them has a life that has just gone off the wrong way. And we are bringing them back into a civilized society. That's some pictures from the farm. I don't know how many banana plants, but there are a lot of banana plants, plenty of bananas, plenty of eggs. For meat, we've switched to duck. You can get more meat out of a duck than you can out of a chicken. So we're raising ducks now at the farm. There's another picture of the farm and the things that are growing. And every one of those little potholes at the beginning was where we started a new banana plant. most people don't know it, but when you take a stalk of bananas off the banana plant, what do you do next? Wait for it to grow another stalk? No. You cut the plant down. It's no good anymore. And you have to start all over again. But each one of those is a banana plant now that is large. Okay, we're back in Thailand. In Thailand, we have 3 safe houses now. We had 2 when we went. We were able to buy an old house, 40-year-old house, but it was structurally sound, and I knew that we could get it into a position where it would make a very good safe house, and it did. I'll show you pictures after a while. We have 15 girls. 11 of those girls have been baptized. The girls in Laos and Thailand are very receptive to the gospel. It's very easy to teach them and get them. The 3 safe houses are located in Mukdahan, Chiang Mai, and Udong, Thailand. Those are where if any of you been in the service, we had a man in Houston who supports us, who was stationed in Udong for a period of time. So he knows everything about the city. This is in Mukdahan. Mukdahan is over near the Mekong River, and the border between, what would it be? It'd be still between Laos and Thailand. That little girl just amazed me. We took her in even though she was not 8 years old. She was only about 6 or 7. We found her and her 2 sisters living in it was just a tarp tied to something, just a tarp. That's all they had. How they lived there, I don't know. And he was a drug addict. So we told the 2 girls, we can take you to our safe house, but your younger sister is too young. She said, we're not going. The only way they would go was for us to take all 3. Now she's grown up. I think she's about 7 years old now. I was there last year doing some work on the safe house. This safe house will house as many as 60 girls. We don't have the right recruiter in that safe house for finding girls. She loves the safe house and she loves being there. And if you lived with a drug addict father, you would understand her position. There, the girls that were in the safe house then. We had one girl in quarantine. She had COVID, and I didn't go into her room at all. You see the little girl that was with the arms outstretched. She's very small, but very active. Just sweet as she could be. Every step I took, she was right behind me. This is another new safe house. After I built that large safe house in Mukdahan, I decided at 86, it's a little too much for me to be out on a construction site every day working. But if I'm not on the construction site, then the construction is inferior and dangerous. They just do not do it the way it should be done. So I decided I would buy this safe house. I bought it, and it'll house, I think about 24 or 25 girls. And I bought the lot next to it for our garden.
This is a slide of the girls that we have at the Chiang Mai Safe House
I meant to
and the
turn
house
off the
parents,
sound.
which is shown on either side of the photo. This safe house will house approximately 20 girls.
The man in the far left is a preacher that I hired. He was a member of a local congregation. There are 2 or 3 congregations of the Lord's Church in that Chiang Mai area, and a preacher training school. So these are the girls and the house mother on the far right on her knees. This is the lot that I bought next to the safe house in order to make it a garden. And it had grown up. First thing we did was have a bush hog come in and cut all the stuff down. And then we started cutting it up into squares. And there's a picture of some of the vegetables that are being grown at each season. Now you may wonder, why did they have the plants covered with a green plastic? Because they would die if you didn't. We left Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand, and all across Thailand it was 105, 110, and we landed at the Atlanta airport. It was 45. That was quite a shock for our bodies, from 105 that we'd got used to 45. The covering is to let the little plants get started enough growing that they can stand the strong heat and the sunlight, so that we cover them until they are some size. There's the safe house that I bought in Udon. That's the sign out front at the gate, and we worked on it the whole 6 months to get it into shape. Since it was structurally sound, very good, I knew that we could get enough paint and get enough repairs and other things to make it a suitable place for the girls. That's the front room where we worked each day on our computers when we had time. You can see the sod had been put on the ground, and she wrote me the other day, the new safe house director. She said that sod is all grown together and is high enough that she's going to have to cut the grass. You would think at 105 nothing would grow, but it does. And see, right now the monsoon has started, and it is pouring down rain every day. I don't like being in Thailand during the monsoon. I have been there during the monsoon. It can be up to your knees and just in a half a day of water. This is our kitchen and dining room at that safe house. During COVID, we had a tremendous task of taking care of almost 3,000, that's 2,800 it says here, Christians. Christians didn't have money to buy food, so we had to take care of them. Then there was a village with 150 homes. The whole village burned to the ground. They had absolutely nothing. No place to sleep, nothing to sleep on. So we had to do that all during COVID. So we cared for the Christians. But there's something very amazing, not really amazing, it's what I would expect. We were only giving to Christians because we didn't have enough money to give to everybody in Nepal. And when we gave the rice, just rice and a few other things to the people, the Christians would share the rice with their neighbors. Well, you know what that did? That opened up the door to share the gospel. We had more baptisms during that period of time than has ever been in any time in Nepal. Then in Laos, we had to provide food, medical care, construction of gardens, raising rice, honeybees, selling items that are made by the girls, fish ponds, and mushroom farms. All of these things help us to get to the position of being self-sustaining. That is important. We would go up and down the Mekong River. Some of you that have been in this service know the Mekong River. Some of you are old enough to remember it in the news. And there'd be these little small villages all along the river. We would stop at each village and go up and see people that had sicknesses for years, and we would pay for it. That's where we came in contact with a young girl. I think she was about 18 or 19 years old, or maybe younger. Anyway, she was blind. And you look at her eyes, and you could actually see the cataract across her eyes. So that's exactly what I thought had happened. We finally got the Laotian government to give us a permit to cross the border with her. She had no identification. no birth certificate, typical of people that live in these small villages. But we finally got a permit to get her to Bangkok. They did the first surgery, and she could see. She had cataract. We did the second surgery a few days later. She could see out of both eyes. While we were in Vientiane, she's in the Vientiane number 2 safe house, and she will be there until she goes back and starts a business. We've taught her how to cut hair, how to do all the care of a woman coming to a beauty shop. While my wife was there, she had her to use her as a guinea pig to cut her hair. She did a good job. And after the cataracts were removed, and it's very rare for a child to be born with cataracts, but it does occur. Sometimes a child can be born with cataract. And the cataracts can even come back again. So we have to do some treatment on her eyes now. But we met her on a village on the Mekong River. This is where we are delivering the rice to the people in the village. You see the tents for the victims of the fire. They had absolutely nothing. You just don't know how they lived. So we had to furnish the rice for 1 year, not only to that village, but to 2,800 other Christians. We have a lot of Christians in Nepal. We have a lot of churches. I think we have 35 churches. We use the church buildings, we use the church people, the young men, that can put that sack of rice on their back and carry it to the homes of Christians in that particular area. There's some areas we could not even get our tractor and trailer loaded with rice. There are no roads. The only thing you could do is get a mule train. Some of you old enough to remember the song Mule Train. I didn't know what a mule train was until I saw it. I don't know how those old mules get up those mountains and get the rice. They're loaded with rice. And yet, sometimes, even an older woman would come to pick up the rice at the congregation, and she would carry it on her head back to her house. I couldn't even pick it up. So here's a summary. Average age of the human trafficking victim today is between 8 and 16. The younger the girl is, the higher the price. The older she is, the less will be paid for her. Today, there's close to 50 million girls enslaved in sex trafficking. And it keeps growing every year. This year has been the largest growth that I've seen since we started. That's Jackie Fong.
Ron Brown, the founder and director of Save Asian Souls, is 85
again.
years old. And he is making preparation for those successors who will take over the...
He'll do a great job. He's been going to the Memphis School of Preaching and Four Seas College in Singapore. We give God the honor, the praise, and the glory for the opportunity to be his servants, saving lives and souls in Asia. Thank you for loving and caring.
Thank you for loving.
Now, I've got some time to take some questions. I think I have some time. How much? About 15 minutes? Okay, I can take some questions if you have any questions. We try to show everything about the work, but there could be something that you would want to know additional, and we'd be glad to answer your questions now. Well, usually it's fairly easy. We get them before the recruiter gets to them. See, the recruiter is looking for the same girls in the same situation. The poor people are the ones who are subject to more danger. And we get them before a recruiter can get to them and tell them about a big job that he has for them and how a wonderful life they'll have, and they'll marry a millionaire in the United States and never have to work. They do all the lying. These girls up in the rural areas of Nepal have no concept of what life is like, or that trafficking even exists. And I can even imagine the parents would say, well, go with this man. This man's going to give you a job, because they don't know about trafficking. They don't have electricity. They don't have TV. They don't have radios. They have poverty. That's all. So the recruiter will be going to these very poor areas. We only had one case several years ago. What was her name? Ganga, yeah. She had already been sold 3 times. One man bought her, another man bought her from him, another man bought her from another man. And we have what we call our awareness program, just to let the poor people in the poor villages know about trafficking, because they don't know. They know, they will try to protect their children. Well, in this awareness program, Lokendra was giving out brochures to the people, telling them what trafficking was and where it's occurring. And Ganga walked up to him and she said, I need help. I need to go with you to the safe house. He said, fine, we'll take you. I think she was about 16 years old, or 17 maybe. But her owner was with her. He said, no, you can't have my girl. Well, there was a long, heated discussion between my man and the man that owned the girl, the last owner, the owner number 3. So finally, Lokendra got tired of arguing with him, said, let's go to the police and let the police make the decision. Does she go with me or does she go with you? He said, take her. We took her to the safe house, taught her how to sew. She has a successful tailoring shop in her village, and she can make it fine. You see, it's very different in Nepal. You think of people taking money or taking a bus and going and buying their clothing in a city rather than the little village. No, they don't have the money to take the bus. Never even concerned with having the money to buy their clothing. So all of the clothing in the small villages are made by girls like Janja. And she has a good job, she has a good income. She's married now, and she has a little boy. So her life has changed totally. Okay, next question. Okay.
These trafficker people trying to come back and take girls back.
No. We've had no problem with that. Now, we do have walls around our every safe house. We don't. See, I think there's one safe. Not in Nepal. That's right. In Nepal, we can't build in Nepal because the Nepal government is controlled by the Hindu religion. Totally controlled. So, we have a problem with the Hindu people. So we don't build there. We rent houses. We just rented another house for girls to be taken to in Nepal. Okay, another question?
I bet you don't have any safe houses in India, do you?
No, because the Hindu government controls everything in India.
Yeah, it's all controlled by them, yeah.
And if we built something, in fact, the Hindu religious leaders came to us in Narayangarh. We had a large safe house there. They said, you have to get these girls back out of here. You cannot continue. You're converting too many of our girls to Christianity from Hindu. They hate Christianity.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. They hate Christianity. And it's not even a religion.
I know.
It's unbelievable. that anyone would follow that kind of thinking. And in Thailand, we have Buddhists, and it's nothing. But we've had no problem from the Buddhists.
With the Buddhists?
None at all. And 86% of all of Thailand are Buddhists.
Laos also.
Hmm?
Laos also.
Laos, the same thing.
does.
Buddhist. Okay, another question?
Last time I was in Thailand back in the, when I was in the military back in the 70s, you would have a father sell their daughter.
They still do.
They
Yeah.
still do.
I first ran into it when I was in China, working in China. In southern China, we were with a government agent, and we went to, these are called minority people. Not the Han, what is it? Primary, no,
Yeah, people down
the major people.
there.
Hmm?
Han is the major.
No, I'm talking about China.
That's what I'm saying. Han Chinese.
Han, that's right. The Han Chinese is the predominant tribe where they all came from there. But these tribes that are in southern China, the Miao, the Ya, the Da, that's three of them that I can remember, have more beautiful girls than the Han Chinese girls. Therefore, the Russian mafia wants to buy the most beautiful girls in addition to being very young. So the government man that I was with said, see that girl and see her father? Her father can sell her for $5,000 or $6,000 to the Russian mafia. That just upset me. It bothered me for a long time until I started this work. That's the reason I started the work, was the result of seeing what was happening. And fathers still sell their children. And in Nepal, we lose a lot of girls from the safe house that are going to get married because they have arranged marriages. The father arranges the marriage. And it basically amounts to whoever gives him the most money is going to be her husband. And she has no question. She just has to go along with it and marry him. We lose the girls that way. Okay, another question? Yes.
Just out of curiosity, and the way the world is today, do you ever see any of the young boys?
Oh, yeah. In northern Laos, the young boys, and it's very different. It's a low percentage. It's about 2 to 3%. The rest of it is all female. So we have to go first for that. And that is going to be very, very difficult to ever break. The young boy is expected to sell himself to buy food for the family. And the community accepts it. The family accepts it. And the young boys know that as they grow up, that they're going to have to be male prostitutes.
Yep.
So there are a lot of them in northern Laos. Okay.
The house that you bought and the empty lot next to it, what was the price of that, you think?
Tell me again.
How much was it to buy that house and then you had the house with the empty lot beside it?
Oh, okay.
What was the price?
It's Chiang Mai. Let me think. I think I paid about $100,000 for it, and that included the lot. And it is structurally sound, which is hard to find, and it has, let me think, 5 bedrooms, which I was looking for. Kitchen. You have to go outside, come back in to get to the kitchen. And that's no problem though. It was in good shape. Didn't have to do hardly anything to it.
That's a good price, really, because
Yes.
in India, I couldn't believe the prices of houses there to
Right.
buy 'em. It's just, yeah, I mean, you think they're expensive here? Oh, good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I bet over there it's a lot more expensive too.
Yeah.
So that's why I said $100,000. That's a great price.
It was. especially since it included vacant lot also.
Yeah, oh yeah, it included it?
Right. It had a Buddhist shrine out front. I had to take that down.
Yeah, shrines, yeah.
Because people come by and worship at the shrine.
Yep.
It's kind of like in the Bible where you read about idol worship. Boy, it really exists. Okay, next question. Okay.
So I imagine sex trafficking, do these girls have to have bodyguards? Do they stay within the walls all the time? Is it completely consensual? Like I'm gonna talk you into this and you're gonna go along with it?
We can let the girl go out, and they go to school. All of our safe houses has younger girls that go to school. Now, it's a real problem when you've got a 16-year-old girl that's in the first or second grade. They don't do well. They don't usually last. They don't stay in school. But they never go out by themselves alone. There always have to be one or two girls going with them. And they have to tell us where they're going, and have to sign out, and have to know when they're going to come back in and sign in. So we keep very close tabs. Kidnapping is becoming more prevalent for the recruiters than has been in the past. A lot of kidnapping. And it's occurring here in the United States. A lot of young girls are kidnapped. So we have to be very careful to make sure that they're safe all the time. We have contact with the police department in each location, especially in Thailand. No, in Laos, we have to go to the police department before we can take the girls into the safe house. They have to approve it. Okay?
Does Interpol help y'all in any way? The international police, do they help out?
No. We only take contributions from sound congregations. That's the reason I'm here with you. There are many congregations that are not sound. We will not take contributions from them. But we are being associated with a non-biblical group that would destroy us. Okay? More questions? Couldn't have answered all your questions. We invite you to go with us.
I know.
Yes, it's a long flight. 7 hours from Bangkok. After we fly to Bangkok, then we got 7 hours to Doha, Qatar. And Qatar to Atlanta is 15 hours solid. It's pretty tough.
Is Thailand and Laos still fighting up in the northern area?
No, they're pretty cooperative. Laos sells most of their hydropower to Thailand. Thailand is so much further advanced as a society and as a economy than Laos. So a lot of the food that is eaten in Laos comes from Thailand. Thailand exports 22 million, what is it, bushels? 22 million bushels of rice every year. You just see rice paddies everywhere in Thailand. Okay? So any other questions? Have I run out of time? Okay. No other questions? Well, you can talk to Pat or I, either one, in between the services or after the worship. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.